Everyday superpower. We talk body language, relationships, game, everything in between. All right. I'm gonna come to you, bada bing, bada bum, with a simple question today. Very simple question. What social value do you bring her? What social value do you bring her? Right. This is whether you be in that relationship right now with this individual, or whether you are wanting to be in a relationship with this individual, or whether you just want to be prepared for, you know, that moment where you get talking to someone who you find attractive. What knowledge of self does one have? What social value do you actually bring her, right? It's all based on value, perceived value more so than actual value, although once you get into a actual consistent communication, i.e. a relationship, if your value was purely perceived and not rooted in reality, that relationship will come undone pretty bloody fast, right? She'll see the non congruency between who you say you are and who you actually are. Yeah, she is socially engineered to garner that information as time goes by. So, what social value do you provide? Simple. Do you offer a better life for this individual? Do you offer time in the limelight? Because attention is a currency in the feminine world, yes? For us men, generally, resource tends to be a little more important to us than fame and fortune, but hey, you know, I know a few artists who pursue fame and, acknowledgement in the public eye above and beyond money, but that's because money doesn't mean anything to them at this point. And when you grow older and get more mature as a man and have more responsibility, I think you tend to re-establish your priorities and, financial income, investment, and resource management tends to be a little more important than, you know, the idea of being famous. Arguably quite feminine, right? So, what value do you bring her? As I said, attention is a currency within the feminine world. So, the idea that you don't provide the material resource like Mr. Banker does doesn't necessarily mean that you're not as attractive as them, because you might be a figure, you might be a name, you might be known, you might be a leader in your community, you might have established a degree of social success in a space she would love to be present within, love to be a name in, love to be identified with. And think about this, right? Quite simply, she can go to her friends and say, my boyfriend is this person, or I'm dating this person. What's your social value? Who are you? What will she sum you up as when introducing you through word of mouth to those closest to her, who she knows will judge her because she judges them? How is she going to verbally introduce you as someone you're at least dating? If that makes sense. What's your social value? Hey, I mean, we don't necessarily go into it here, but this can even be a racial thing, right? I'm a white man. I have dated foreign women, and there's a taboo element of social value that comes with that when they come from abroad, maybe from a more impoverished area, you know. Hey, I'm broke as a joke. I'm broke as a joke. So, I don't know why they need to show me off, but here we are. There's a whole wealth of different perspectives and means of utilizing what you've got in order to look great and be attractive through her eyes, right? Through social value comes a multitude of attractive traits she searches for non-consciously in a partner. If you have social value, you show leadership qualities, because that which is to not be valued socially is to be within the crowd. And that which is within the crowd blends in, doesn't stand out. And although you as a man probably prefer that position, I know I do, to that woman, she would be more interested in a Kanye West controversial figure who winds people up, who acts a bit of a clown from time to time, but garners the attention and the energy and the concentration of the masses, than average Joe who has a decent job, holds it down well, and is able to provide to an okay degree. Because in a way, the center of attention, who wears it well, who deals with the conflict, is the peacock. Yeah, I'm ridiculed. Yeah, people throw tomatoes at me, but it doesn't bother me. It sucks to be them. They wish they could be me, and that's why they project this disdain and this hatred towards me. Because if I really was a nobody, if I really was worthy of no opinion, if I really was lesser than them, they wouldn't acknowledge me. Nobody punches down, they only punch up. As far as envy is concerned and passive aggression is concerned, she wants to be with the center of attention, even though it might be, marketed as distasteful. What's your social value? She has got 1 million followers on Instagram, right? Your social value being this local painter with an independent job, right, doesn't cut it. Your social value is nada in relation to what she perceives her own value as. She's going to look for a man who surpasses that through one way or another. She needs to find you valuable. The woman is not going to date down. She never will. And if she does, it's momentarily. And she might just be fetishizing you for some reason. She's not going to find longevity in your relationship because you're not fulfilling the masculine principle that is a necessity within the relationship. Yes? What do you mean? What do you mean? I just mean statistically. I just mean if you look at the numbers, if you look at the people holding hands in the street, you can make sense there and then of the general reality of masculine and feminine, how they integrate what they find attractive in a partnership. You don't need to look into the inner depths and the neuroscience and the evolutionary biological impulse and look at the red pill and look at the blue pill and argue and divide and go your own way and all of this shit. No, just look at the reality of that which manifests in the world around you. The only problem is you got so many people, including the media, that tells you left is right and up is down and so on and so forth. They have you confused as to what the truth is, and the truth is there before your eyes. Now, don't get me wrong, there's still some degree of social engineering going on there, but there's a difference between an incel and somebody with a girlfriend. Just have a look at how them men are different. And you'll come across your answer. What's your social value? Do you have value? Do you have any degree of value? And social value, I speak of, utilizing the word social might be a little bit disruptive because I'm not trying to say you need to be like an extrovert and a face in a crowd and, garnering lots of attention. It's just, how can she use you to elevate her own status in the eyes of her community and her group and her family and so forth? How can she weaponize you and what you have going on to elevate how she is perceived through the perspective of those she wants to impress? You dig? As I've said time and time again, I'm the most introverted person on planet Earth, right? I hate being in social situations. And that's why I'm so observant and right when it comes to social observations and analysis, because I listen. I rarely speak. I perceive that which is. I absorb the knowledge and I relay it to yourselves. You're my people, you're my group, you know? There you go. Social value, what do you do? Oh, I speak on YouTube, I got 1,700 subscribers. She don't know what that means. What is that in the grand scheme of things? It's not many, but it's something to portray and to put into, you know, to essentially add a salesman spin on there and state that you are engaging. And no disrespect to you listening, but you are the leader per se of 1,700 men who look to you for at least a discussion based on human dynamics and the smart, intelligent world of communication and so forth. That in itself gives you what Mystery would say, the pickup artist Mystery, as the leader of men dynamic and flick that attraction trigger. Yes? How does she perceive you as valuable? She needs to. Because if she doesn't deem you as valuable in whichever way, you become a problem. And there's a spectrum to this, right? The boyfriend who has something to offer, but is always hidden on her social media. She'll take photos of the restaurant, she'll take photos of the food, she'll take photos of each, that, and everything, but he's always gone. Yeah, she's present. Yeah, she's there with him. Yeah, she's might be probably committed to this man, and he has a value as to which he's with her, right? They're engaging in a partnership. But if he was more valuable, if he was more of a somebody, if he had more resource, if he was a leader of more people, if he had the value of being handsome, so he's breaking necks everywhere he goes, then he would go from being Casper the friendly ghost in these images, being there but not there at the same time, a fine duality of such. This guy is but a spiritual entity existing and residing on the outskirts of these images, to him actually manifesting in the material world, because he's garnered the value for her to just be like, I need to show this guy off because this guy elevates how I am perceived, and how I am perceived is ever so important to me. How I am perceived is why I apply makeup. How I am perceived is why I unconsciously, if not consciously, compare and contrast myself with other women in my field. How I am perceived and the attention I garner is that of life and death to me. I need to show this guy off because this guy is with me. So by default, him being present with me and investing in me, at the very least his time, is a grand showcase of my value, my sexual market value, right? I'm putting you on game. What's your value? Does she deem you socially valuable? You tell me. On that note, I'm signing out. Peace. Click like and subscribe. You know.